some people really bitch when you're playing like a cheap character. Like they can't just do the same thing, you know what I mean? It's really odd. I think that oh shit, fuck. I think that the further along we get in this in like the fighting game community and just like gaming in general, the more handholdy games become, right? So when something slips through the cracks and is like way too cheap and easy and baby mode, and Amy is an unforgivable character. Amy is unforgivable, only character I have an issue with. Oh, let me put chat on screen. There we go. And now if you type again, everyone will be able to see it. But I really dislike the mentality of, oh, why you're playing something cheap? Because like there's so much cheap shit in every fighting game on the market. And our cheap shit, look. I know I don't want to sound like one of those old people, right? Because I'm only 25. But our cheap shit, as the new generation of fighting game players, is so much less bullshit than the cheap shit there was in older games. Our rosters are so much more balanced than the rosters of old. Like when you had to fight against a cheap character in fucking Third Strike, or a cheap character in fucking Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, or a cheap character in fucking Tekken 4, Tekken 5, you were playing against cheap shit. Like legit fucking cheap shit. And there was nothing you could do about it. These games are getting like easier and easier. I've actually heard some like Tekken Tag 2 players on the topic of Tekken, because I'm talking about Leroy specifically. What game are we talking about? Nothing in particular, but I just mean in general. People seem to not understand that like cheap shit in fighting games will always exist. Cheap characters will always exist. Who was the lady that could beat you up, that could just keep grabbing you in Tekken? Oh, what game are we talking about? That's an archetype. That's called a grappler. Yeah, there's no escaping cheapness. So instead of complaining about an SC, the character that could just beat you by grabbing you? Ivy? Probably Ivy. Yeah, dude, CS is a hell of a drug, bro. CS is a hell of a drug. Yeah, CS is a little dumb. No, it's an old Soul Calibur game? Damn, I don't know, man. And it's I-16, starts with V. Oh, she was from Soul Calibur 3. She was from 3. No, not Viola. Yeah! Soul Calibur 5, baby. We're doing the actual cheap shit. That's what I'm saying right there. That's a perfect example. Back Throw Infinite. The Back Throw Infinite got banned by. They actually found it too cheap for competitive play, so it got banned. It was actually too cheap for competitive play. It got banned. But yes, that's a perfect example. Cheap shit is getting so much less prevalent because every character has it, right? Like, there's no way you're not gonna run into a character who has some move that you're like, oh my gosh, that's so stupid. That's dumb. How the fuck did that? Why does that interaction work that way? You know? It used to be like a couple of characters in every game where you're like, wow, what the fuck was that interaction? Why did that character work that way? And now you're like, holy shit, what is this whole game? You're like, yo, this whole game is fucking clown shoes madness. I should have left inventory space. Hey, what's going on, Elliot? How you doing? We're just talking about cheapness in fighting games. And about the fact that there's no escaping it. You gotta get used to playing it. Like, I think that shooters and fighting games are those genres where there's always gonna be cheap shit. And if you don't want cheap shit, you pick the wrong genre. And that's all it is. I remember Season 1 Ivy. I remember Season 1 Aswell. I think Season 1 Ivy was actually not even as strong as Season 1 Aswell. I'm gonna be real with you. Or CE beat everything. Oh, you mean like, but it was still -16 though, you know, like that's fair. It's a fair move, bro, it's fine. It's okay. Yeah, we just gotta get used to it, you know? Like, I will say one thing. I'd much rather deal with any cheap shit we currently have in fighting games. Even though everything's cheap. Like, it's very common you'll run into multiple characters that have something that just doesn't make sense. Then run into anything from, like, I don't know, Chun-Li in Third Strike. Or Smoke or Rain from Yu Kip 3. Like, I'd much rather 100% play against them. But, like, on the subject of Tekken, right? Lars in Tekken 6 was a fucking animal. Bob in Tekken 6 was an animal. Steve in 5. Jin in 4. Walls in general in 4. But I hear shit about playing Leroy. You know who I'm gonna get to blue rank next, boys? I'm getting Noob Saibot and Implay Trilogy. Welcome to No Blocking. Yeah, it was the same thing. It was essentially the same thing with Rain. Rain, if you got touched once, you died. I said hi to that guy. Dang, it's crazy that you bring up something. You don't miss old games. Exactly. Then we should stop complaining about the cheap shit we have now. Did you use Lucky Chloe? No, I want to use cheap shit. Lucky Chloe sucks. I specifically actually want to win. I'm not saying I want to lose. If I wanted to lose, yeah, I'll play Lucky Chloe. She kind of sucks. In like the humblest way possible, because it's not like I'm good at the game or anything. I mean, and I'll admit, she has a few cheap things. Every character has a few cheap things, but it's nothing in comparison to the other characters in the game that have like crazy stupid shit. Oh, a clue scroll, a mimic kill token. I don't know what that is. Hey, what's up, Mystic? How you doing? I'm getting beat up by 2 of these things now. I'm kind of getting game banged here. Help. Help. I don't know. I think we could all take a page out of the book of the old people. Even though the old people are like, back in my day, I think we could all take a page out of their book and just stop complaining about cheap shit. The less you complain about it, the more you'll learn. I think that's just like a general rule of thumb. Once you stop like complaining about it so much and stop using it as a crutch for why you're losing, you learn a lot more about a game. That works in every game. That works in shooting games, that works in fighting games, that works in battle royales, that works in everything. Works in everything. Any competitive game. Yo, like I used to play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, right? There was a game. There's old players that complain too, though, and those old players probably aren't as good as the old players like fucking Justin Wong and Daigo and fucking Yipes, who didn't complain about the shit, they just fucking figured out how to use it. You know what I'm saying? What's a perfect example? Oh yeah, I played Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And for a long time, for like 2 formats, maybe 3 formats, there was a deck that, I won't say it was unbeatable, but it was by far and away the most consistent deck in the game. It was called Burning Abyss. It was the most consistent, good deck in the game, okay? And everyone slated Necroz, the up-and-coming new deck, to win our national tournament. I think that was either 2013 or 2014. Everyone was like, oh, Necroz is going to win, dude. That deck is insane high skill ceiling, amazing boss monsters, super good late game, consistency out the wazoo, only seconded to maybe Burning Abyss, BA. And they're like, you know, like, I don't know, this shit's pretty cheap. I think Necroz is fucking ridiculous. Enough players complained about it, enough sales happened for the cards, because Konami be like that, and Necroz got hit. Necroz took a little bit of nerfs, because what you do in card games, you just ban cards if they're too strong, right? So a couple of cards got banned, got limited, and it pushed the deck down in power level with the same decks, with decks of the same skill. Now there's like a 4-deck format. Now there's Ritual Beast, Burning Abyss, Fort, and Necroz, right? So everyone's like, okay, well now it's gonna be a fair format. We still think Necroz is gonna win, but it's gonna be a fair format. There's gonna be way more diversity in the top 8, way more diversity in the top 16, top 30, top 64. I made top 64 at that national with over 2,000 players, by the way. And you guys know what happened? Instead of that happening, instead of Necroz, the table 1 deck, the one that everyone was expecting to be at the top tables, winning, the grand finals was a Burning Abyss mirror. Because we complained so much and so hard about a deck that was brand new and strong, and accidentally let things that we didn't notice, that we didn't see, that we didn't think were as cheap slip through the cracks. That's another problem. We just let shit slip through the cracks because we were too busy complaining about fucking Necros. We were like, yo, this deck's fucking crazy, dude. Fucking rips a card out of my hand, takes a card out of my graveyard and the field, one boss monster, 2700 attack, and they can negate all my attacks. They can negate an attack and end the battle phase. That's way too strong. And then Burning Abyss just to out consistency. It just said, I'm gonna do my thing every single fucking turn into your deck. And we let it happen. I was a Ritual Beast player, so I didn't give a fuck. I played Macrocosmos in the main deck, so that does sound broken. Yeah, I will say that Necros was extremely ridiculous, but I mean, if you see cheap shit and complain about cheap shit, sometimes you forget about the other cheap shit, and it happens all the time. It's a very common thing to do, where you complain about something that's so cheap or so broken that you don't like, that you've noticed, that other shit just kind of disappears for you. You just don't see it. It doesn't exist. It's still there. It's still cheap. It's still ridiculous. It's still powerful. It can probably still compete, but you don't see it, so you don't think about it. And because you don't think about it, you don't complain about it. And then it stays in. So we go from saying, oh my god, Akuma's the most broken character in fucking Tekken 7. This is stupid. To nerfing him when we had characters that were, okay, I won't say that there was characters as strong as him. Let's come up with a better example. Oh, that's a perfect example. Ivy in Season 1. Ivy Season 1. That's a whack-a-mole type of balancing. I think fighting games these days are more of a blanket patches with several changes to multiple characters. That's usually what we do. We echo chamber out the best characters and we nerf them. I think that's kind of what I was trying to explain. If I was doing that poorly, I'm sorry. We echo chamber out the best or the most consistent or the most powerful tools or decks or characters or weapons in a game, you know? And then we, because of that, we forget about the other shit. That's what happened. Ivy needed to go, so did Aswell, and Aswell stayed around for an entire other season. Season 1 Ivy did dirty, but Aswell got to stay because we forgot about how stupid Aswell was because we were so scared and so worried about Ivy. He was just as much of a problem. He really was. He really was. Another perfect example is in Fantasy Strike. Everyone considered Geiger the best character in the game. Pre DLC character. Or not DLC, because you don't have to buy them. The other fighting games tend to not get slept on since the balancing of multiple characters at a time. I'm glad Season 1 AB doesn't exist anymore. Me too, brother, me too. What's another example? Oh yeah, Fantasy Strike. But I guess that's a fair point, but that's usually not what happens. I don't think, like, that didn't happen in MK, right? Didn't in MK they kind of just like said like, fuck your, top tiers that you think are too strong. We're not worried about them. We're only hitting this one. And then, Jackie upgraded LOL. Yeah, fuck the top tiers you think are strong. We don't care about them. Kung Jin stays ridiculous for an entire season, but Passy Cage gets nerfed in MKX. They can do another patch. Sure. Dude, these things are still just swinging at me now. MK11 gets memed on for their balance changes by every other fighting game community. Even in their own community. MK11 balance makes no sense. I'll admit that. I don't even play the game anymore, and I'll admit that. I don't have space. Fuck, I don't want to drop any more food. What's over there? Oh, Spirit Weed. Weeds! Let's go! You remember when you tried to enjoy MK11? Yeah, I do. There's a lot of fighting games I've tried to enjoy. I still like Fantasy Strike, and I'll probably go back to it. But they do the pigeonhole thing. They do the echo chamber thing. And I've already noticed. If something's extremely strong and everyone complains about it, they nerf it and they don't worry about anything else. They don't worry about anything else. Geiger got, nerfed, put in line, but they didn't care that Jaina was right behind him. Jaina was right behind him. And then for the entire next, 6 months, 4 months, Jaina just became by far and away the best character in the game. And we just ignored it. Lol. Omega lol. Good design. Hella good design. And I love the game, so I'm not trying to talk shit. But bad balancing is bad balancing. That's just how it be. I think zoning in MK11 is handled so badly, it's insane, and I love playing as zoning characters. I think Injustice 2 did a phenomenal job of zoning, though. A phenomenal job of zoning. I'm glad there's enough of you guys here talking to me about this, that this will probably end up on YouTube now. Say hi to YouTube, everyone, please. Say hi to YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Talk about your favorite fighting games and the problems that you have with them. And play some RuneScape. This game is pretty sick. I like this shit. Catch you guys next time. Peace.